I mean, I hear people still to this day, they talk about the impact of us kids that went through the 70s that Shazam made. Are you aware of that? Do you get stopped on the street for being Shazam? Do people I know people hit you up constantly for pictures and autographs. They must. But do you realize the positive contribution you made out of the gate doing a show like that?
I didn't realize it at first, but I over the years, and especially since I've been going to these Comic-Cons last couple of years up until the pandemic hit us, I talked to people, and I was with Michael Gray most of the time on the Comic-Cons, and we were both just amazed and overwhelmed and inspired by the stories we were hearing from these people that as kids or as parents or whatever that saw the show. No, I just hadn't thought that it was that it actually affected people's life. When I was called to suddenly show up for Captain Marvel, it was like a hurried up thing, and I thought, I was having doubts. I think, oh God, what's this going to do to my career? I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and do it and see what happens. And it turned out to be I thought it was going to be the bottom of my career, but it turned out to be the top of my career.
Now, why did you think it was going to be the bottom of your career?
Well, I just thought, my agent, when he called me, it was as I said, it was a hurry up thing that they had some kind of kerfuffle with the guy that was doing the show, the Captain Marvel at the time,
mm-hmm.
and he said they wanted me to be out there, and I had a little discussion with my agent, and he said just you do it. You can't think about it. You got to get up and either do it or don't do it. But they're waiting for you,
Right.
So I'm thinking, oh gosh, like Captain Kangaroo or Mr. Rogers. I didn't realize it was a live action show from Filmation.
So you show up, though. You show up, and let me tell you, if you were a kid and you missed an episode of Shazam, you were put in a very dark place at elementary school on the playground. You definitely were not one of the trendy ones that particular Monday. But you show up for this. And, I mean, it's interesting because you come from a fight background. So you're used to preparation and work and some form of a training. Like, as you said yourself, when you decided to take on doing extra work in acting, you put yourself through training courses to improve. And you show up and they say, okay, here's the costume, here's what you're going to do. And you're sitting there thinking on the set of Shazam on your first day, are you thinking, hey, this is going to be pretty fantastic? Or are you going to go, well, at least I'm going to be paying my mortgage with this. We'll just kind of get through it. What is your attitude when you show up internally?
Sort of the latter. I mean, I'm thinking, well, this is a job. It's a job. And, I mean, it was within an hour of the time my agent called me to the time I was dressed up in the red tights and the cape, was I'd say about an hour and a half had passed.
Yeah.
And
that's fast.
Yeah. So I didn't. And then when I showed up on the set and they got ready to shoot a scene, everybody was so helpful and supportive. The whole crew, the cast, the director, Mike Gray and Les Tremaine, they just took me under their wing like a bird with a broken wing, and
mm-hmm.
I love doing the show.
Well, when you got that kind of support system around you, you can't help but want to not let them down, right? You really want to justify the investment in you and deliver. And I just thought, I was looking at some behind-the-scenes footage of the production, and I go, if you're trying to make your rent, this isn't a bad way to do it. I mean, he's doing a flying scene. He's helping the youth of America face up to problems. I mean, it kind of covers all bases. But do you sit back? Do you have what is the moment with the Shazam work that was probably the funniest one, where you realize, Life Ain't So Bad. What's the funniest moment on the show for you in the production of the show, I should say?
Well, there was a lot of funny moments because Les Tremaine and Michael Gray were great practical jokers. I think one of the funniest moments was when I it wasn't funny at the time, but it got funny as it
mm-hmm.
as I experienced it. But I during the I'd say a few days of the show, I decided I was going to buy this little X19 Fiat sports car. I've had my eye on it for quite a while, and getting the job suddenly gave me the ability to get that little car.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a Porsche or a Mercedes or anything, but it was a nice little car, although I had a hard time getting in and out of it.
Right.
And after being in my dressing room for a while, looked at the script, and when I came out, I looked where my car was parked. We're on location up in the San Fernando Valley. I looked at where my car was parked, and I saw these big rocks on it.
Oh, no.
I thought, what the? And I charged it across the parking lot, and then I realized when I got there, somebody had taken the time to put somebody, it was Mike and Les, taken these furniture moving blankets, and they covered the top of the car, and then they piled these rocks on it. And for a while, for a few moments there, I had a little bad humor moment. But
I bet.
But I got a big kick out of it.
Well, that's funny that they had that kind of sense of humor. However, it's distressing at the time, right?
Yeah.
And I've never really understood the psychology of severe pranking, because it puts so much stress on a situation, and you realize this could cause a nuclear meltdown here fairly quickly if you don't realize it's actually a gag. But it seems like they knew you well enough to know that you would ultimately have fun with it. And do you ever look back at the old episodes? Do you ever look back at Shazam and think on it, or have you just put it in your sort of mental archives?
I've put it in my mental archives. I have tapes and DVDs and of the shows, but I haven't watched. The last time I think I watched them was somebody wanted to do a phone interview like we're doing now. So I decided I better look at a few episodes just to kind of have
right
spur my memory. And so that's the last time. That was a couple of years ago. And before that, my granddaughter, she's now like 30, but when she was about 8, we live out here in the country, and there isn't a lot to do except just climb trees or whatever for kids.
Right.
But I suggested to her that you want to see what Grandpa used to do when Grandpa was Captain Marvel, and she said, "Oh yeah, that'd be fun." So I put her one of the old. This is like 18 years ago, I guess, or 20 years ago. I put it on the player, and she watched for a few minutes, and then she looked at me and she said, "Grandpa?" And I said, "Yeah, honey." And she said, "Can I go climb a tree?"
And that is what it's all about, right there.
So she kept me humble.
Yeah,